even though it's a Friday night, and we probably all I don't know. Do we all have better things to do? Rod Brind'Amour, the coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, and Bret Hedican. They're both Stanley Cup champions. So you guys were saying hi before we went live. So continue your saying hi to each other. I assume you guys talk all the time. Maybe not.
Well, you know what? Let me jump in here. I don't talk enough to Bret. He's such a good dude and, a great friend. And sometimes you take that for granted a little bit, I'll be honest.
Right.
And, sometimes it takes stuff like this to just realize, man, your family and friends, that's what it's all about. And so I was really excited when Adam, you proposed this. I didn't know how this was going to work, but just seeing
neither did I.
It makes me happy to see him. And you know what? This is great. So I do not have anything better to do right now.
Okay.
Yeah, me either. No. Yeah, I was surprised, Adam, when you had said, "Hey, you want to do this?" I said, "Sure." And then I see you had mentioned Roddy's going to join the call, and then I saw the Facebook post and Twitter. But I'm excited to see Roddy. You're right, Rod. I don't think we get a chance to talk enough. I try to send notes. I know you're busy, particularly when you're coaching. Your head's down, and first of all, what a job you've done this year and last year. For me, I'd love to hear more about that transition of just going to that head coach position and how you've got everybody to buy in. I think that's such an art, and not a lot of people understand it. I think when you've seen what championship team looks like from the hardcore, from the inside, you try to replicate that in your brain, but then trying to do it from your brain in reality is probably two different things, but you've done a nice job of it.
Well, thank you.
No surprise.
You're doing Adam's job now. You're asking the questions.
Sorry, Adam.
No, somebody's got to do it. It's not easy. We're all looking for a new normal. I had to go get a cord. I thought I had enough power for this, but no, that was a great question. Can I give the critique of Rod as a head coach?
Yeah,
he's freaking amazing at it.
Oh gosh.
You're not.
Wow. Listen.
Look, you're the same. You're the same as you were as a player. To be honest,
I think I've been fortunate that it was a great opportunity to come in to come into an organization that needed a little jolt, but had the pieces. Had the right kind of pieces around it, and then the great leadership. Hedy, you and I talk about this quite a bit. I mean, it's because we were able to have it with our group. You know what you need. It's the recipe. You just got to cook it. And so we needed to have that group buy-in. That there's no way around it. If you don't have it, you don't have any chance. So we got that going with the lucked out with Justin Williams being there, and all the other guys just falling into. And to me, if you don't have that glue, it's really hard to get your message across. And I've been fortunate to have just the good top of the line at the top of the food chain, so to speak, with Justin and Jordan, and they're hardworking, honest guys, just like you. It's when you have enough of those guys around, you have a chance, right? And that's all you want every night, to go out there and have a good chance, and that's what we have now.
So I have a bunch of things I wanted to get to, but one of them was also to credit Bret in your role with the Sharks as a broadcaster, because I don't know if you saw the Athletics list, but you guys are pretty high on the Athletics list, because I have checked out your broadcast, your local broadcast. I think you guys do an incredible job, and I was kind of hoping that you would go on the road with the Canes broadcast when they had you between the benches in San Jose. I thought maybe they were going to take you down to Anaheim. That was the trip, Rod. You remember the trip? That was where Mike got sick. And it was cool, that Maniscalco was able to recover. So shout out to him. But you've transitioned into a different role for you. But you always had the gift of gab as a player. You were always easy to talk to. You had.
Well, I'm like Roddy. We're probably not the best guys to go and sit and gab with, right, Roddy? But I think once we kind of open up, I think we're probably a little more open, if you will. But hey, congrats to John and Tripp. They're number one on that broadcast list, which is no surprise to me. I love Tripp. I love John. Those two just call a terrific game. We never knew as players, Roddy, when we were back playing, how good those two guys are, and at such pros at what they do. For me, broadcasting has been a nice kind of bridge, if you will, between a player and where I want to be someday. You know, I'd love to be able to be a little bit deeper involved within an organization. I think where Roddy is, as a coach, you get to affect people. And I think, you know, ultimately when you win, and Roddy, you can speak to this, but I feel like when, you know, we raise the cup, you feel it's a hell of an accomplishment and you feel good about it. But when you're raising it, you almost think back of, holy cow, sometimes it's about the journey, and it's about the relationships, and about the struggles, and about overcoming your fears, overcoming your limitations, and knowing that, you know, sometimes your limitations can end up being your strengths that end up, you know, creating a reason why you win. And I think now I look back at, the championship's great, but the relationships that I have, even with a guy like Roddy and so many players, like you say, Justin Williams and so many more. But, you know, that now I'd love to be more from the broadcasting side, on that side of it, because you're deep in the weeds, if you will, really affecting people's lives and making a difference.
You, what always struck me about being around you guys, and this goes back to, Bret, when you and Kevin Adams arrived in the trade in, I guess it was January of 2002. There was so much leadership in that locker room. I think you may have said it. I think Kevin said it to me at the time. And this is a team that hadn't, I mean, they made the playoffs the year before, but nobody was calling them a team that could win the cup. But Kevin said, like, one of the first things he said to me was, I think this is a team that can win the Stanley Cup. And he was talking about now. And obviously you guys took game one from Detroit. And then, of course, we all know what happened later on the nap. But to me, the leadership, you guys just knew what you were supposed to do. That's not easy for young players. It was cool to be around you guys to see how you interacted as teammates. And there were a lot of guys that could have worn a letter in that locker room. Bret, you were one of them. But there was, I mean, everybody can't have a letter. You have that problem sometimes now, Rod, don't you?
You do, and to your point, 100% accurate. You know, first of all, Hetty, you're great at your job right now, and the reason, and I'll tell you why, is he's prepared. Like, he works at it. This stuff doesn't just happen. You know, you can be good, okay, but you can't be as good as he is at what he's doing if you're not prepared. And I know it. I've been around him enough. When we go into San Jose, all the questions, right, about your team, about constantly talking hockey, trying to just get that little edge, and that's what makes these guys great at what they do. So I don't even remember your other question, but I wanted to throw that in there because, you know, he's great. I love listening to these games. Unfortunately, I don't listen enough because you guys are on the wrong side of the planet here. Trying, you know, I don't stay that late, but
that's not an excuse. There, by the time your game is over, their game starts.
Exactly.
I'm putting pressure on you now.
I get a period or two on my way home sometimes too. But that's it, man. I don't stay up, unfortunately. So but you know what? It's when we talk about this a lot, I'd love to get a chance to work with Hedy again on the other side of it, you know, not as a player. And so hopefully someday we can figure this out.
I would love to. Yeah.
Brett, does Rod have a beard? Is that a stay-at-home beard?
Does Roddy he can't grow a beard, which, you know, he grows other things. They're called muscles. That's what he grows.
This is my kids. We joked about this. So I'm actually in a little growth to see what I can come up with.
Right.
I don't think it's going to last much longer. So
how many days is that?
Pardon me?
How many days is that beard growth?
I got about a 4-day growth going.
That's not bad.
Not bad, really. But we'll see.
Your 4-day growth is as long as my 5 o'clock shadow. I just shaved this morning, and it's probably thicker than yours.
Yeah.
So I have no hair. Both of you still have hair. Rod has incredible hair.
Oh, guy looks like $1 million.
It's amazing, isn't it? So when was your last haircut?
Roddy's?
Talking to me?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna come clean. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So my wife just cut my hair.
That's fine.
Because I can't go out, and she pulled out this thing that she uses on Brooks, and it was like a machine that cut my hair. It went zipping around. I don't know what the hell it was. And you know what? Whatever, right?
You look fine.
Yeah, I just use a trimmer. On mine. You're right, Roddy. You just got to cut it.
See, I use a razor because I don't have hair. So it's all right. It works for me, and my wife likes it. Actually, my wife's a hairdresser, so she's spending a lot more time at home right now. But the first time we met, she said that I was bad for business.
Yeah, you wouldn't be a good client for her.
Be a terrible client, but I tip well. Okay. So what is the new routine for you guys? I mean, I know, Rod, you're a creature of habit. You are all about routine. But what is the new routine right now?
Well, I'll start. I always start my day trying to get some sort of workout in. Get moving.
Right.
For me now, it's not as intense as it once was. That's for sure. But I think it's a good way to start your day. Gets my mind clear. Now I'm watching the news, which is not great.
No.
I used to watch hockey all the time and catch up on the night from before while I was working out. But just get my day started with that, and then during the week, I'm a PE teacher now on the side, right? Helping the wife with Brooks on the schooling thing. And I tell you what, man, teachers, I got a whole new appreciation, the patience, especially when you're dealing with grade 2 level. So just a lot of family time after that. And then we're actually staying pretty busy with the hockey stuff with the organization. We're doing a lot of stuff with the draft and already kind of preparing for next year and only using this as our downtime. So looking at, okay, what would we be like next year? And then trying to fill the holes if, that kind of thing. So we're looking at that right now. So yeah, I'm pretty busy.
What's your new normal, Brett?
I'm kind of getting up, like you say, Roddy, probably not as early as you, but trying to get up around that 7:30 time. Just get moving right away. I've been doing Kung Fu now for about 2.5 years. So we do live Zoom calls every day, and I usually do 1 to 2 hours of it. And so that's kind of been keeping me busy. I did it all 5 days this week, my Kung Fu. So it's a really amazing discipline. For me, I like to use my brain and my body together. And it's the first thing I've really found that is kind of like hockey, where you got to be using your brain as you're using your hands and your eyes and your feet, and all of your faculties have to be moving and be working in hockey to play it, at a high level. And I think Kung Fu is a lot like that. I mean, I start kicking and punching within the first minute or two, you're already sweating. And so an hour goes by pretty quick and I'm pretty soaked. So it's been a lot of fun. That's been something I've been doing a lot of. I think the other thing I've been kind of diving back into is I'm only 5 courses away from graduating from St. Cloud State University. So I'm looking into taking some courses. I've been taking an insurance course, and then I'm looking into finalizing that over the next couple months if I can to potentially graduate. That's really never really took the time to know how close I am, but now I realize I'm only 16 credits shy, and so I'm kind of maybe work towards that if this thing prolongs several more months.
I would have played pomp and circumstance behind me had I known that. Rod, how close are you to graduating at Michigan State?
I'm having some trouble with the audio here. So
okay, Brett was just letting us know that he's 16 credits shy.
Yeah.
Of graduation. Okay,
yep.
That's awesome.
No.
What's the longest, when you were an active player, what's the longest you have ever gone without skating?
Skating?
Yeah. When you were an active player.
Well, when I was younger, you couldn't get ice really in the summer. So I would take probably a couple months without skating. Got older, I didn't take any time off really. I would take maybe a couple weeks, maybe.
Right.
And then start right back at it. We don't days a week, maybe at the start, but I really believe not getting out of shape was the way to go, just because it was just too hard to try to get back that hurdle. And then you weren't any gains. You weren't really getting any better. For me anyway, that was my thought on it. So I tried never to get too far out of shape.
Because these guys now, it's been a month since anybody, I guess at the beginning they were able to skate. I don't know, maybe the guys in Finland can skate because they really have not had much of a problem. The couple of guys that went back to Finland, Aho and Teravainen, I think, went back. But Brett, what was the longest you had been as an active player without getting on skates?
Yeah, I was probably took a little more time than Roddy, but I wish I would have followed Roddy's rule there towards the end. Is I think, the longer time you take off, the harder it is to kind of get all that back. But I'd usually take a couple weeks off the training side of it, let the body heal just a little, and then probably a month off the ice. Maybe a little bit more sometimes, depending on how far along in the season you went. If playoff run, sometimes you don't skate that much if you go all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, like we did a couple of times in Carolina. So, everybody's body's different. Roddy is like you said, a creature of habit, which I think it's not so much what's the right answer, it's what's the right answer for everybody, and everybody's different.
How are your kids handling this?
Roddy, you go.
I can't. You got to repeat that one more time.
How are your kids? How are Brooks and Skylar? How are all your kids? You've got all sorts of ages at the house.
How are they holding up, Roddy?
Oh, Eddie, you take it because I can't. You're
it looks like Rod is searching for the best internet connection in the house.
Get near your modem there, Roddy.
This is bogus. I'm looking around for try to get some signal here. Maybe.
Okay, there you go.
My technology is not working in the Brind'Amour household.
That's all right. Hey, Adam, I'd say my kids are handling it okay. For the most part, they're trying to get into a routine. I know the California schools sound like they might be done for the year. So the schools are trying to do some things, and the kids have been trying to do some things with regard to their schoolwork every day in the mornings. But, I think, there's nothing good about this coronavirus. Let's just call it what it is, COVID-19. I think the only thing that, maybe some people are getting something out of it is the fact that, we're all getting back in touch with this word we call time, and how precious it is, and how, as we talked about earlier, how important friends are and family. And I think those are some of the things that I'm trying to take out of it.
And I know you have two teenage daughters, right?
I have two teenage daughters, yeah.
So, but you don't have to help them with school, do they? They're basically they're students on their own. Is Christy helping them out?
No, we help them here and there. I mean, they're 16 and 14, so they're on their own. They're pretty much doing it at this point. But anytime they need help, we can help them. But for the most part, heck, these schools today are more advanced than we ever were. I know that.
My 11-year-old, and actually my son is home from college. He's taking classes online. My 11-year-old's going to class for like an hour and a half a day. He doesn't understand why they have to go to school. Like, wait a second, I'm just going. I check in with my teachers online, do work online, hit send, boom, everything's good. The only thing that he's upset about is that the street hockey stick he was using broke, and don't tell him, but there's another one coming for on Sunday. The Easter Bunny's going to bring it on Sunday.
Got it.
So he can get back out in the driveway and work on the Svetch.
The Svetch.
What he does.
Roddy, are you back yet, or can you hear us yet?
I'm doing a real bad job of reading lips right now. I can't. It's weird. I'm coming and going all. So Adam teaching his kid how to do the Svetch, and that's a problem. If you're teaching your kid
I'm not doing it. He's doing it. I don't have
the problem.
I can't skate, and B, Jack's actually becoming a very good skater. I can't skate, and I have no puck skills. I can do like I can take a Joel Edmondson wrist shot from the point. We actually spent about an hour the other day outside, Jack working on his net front tip-ins. So if Willie doesn't come back next year, although Jack's too young, Jack can't do it. You guys were both teammates of Williams. What's his secret? Because he's not the fastest guy in the world. He's not the strongest guy in the world. So what's Willie's secret?
Okay, I'm gonna take it, and I'm thinking you're talking about Willie. And
yes. What makes him great?
For Willie's just he is what you see what you get, right? Like, I mean, he comes to the rink every day and does his job. And to me, what separates him from, I think, a lot of great players is that consistency factor. And it doesn't matter the situation. Like, I mean, if you see it over and over, I mean, he plays the same in the game 7 of wherever or game 1 of the season. And he's making those same plays that you shake your head sometimes, go, oh, Willie, don't do it. And he has the courage to just come back and do it again. And I think that's the difference. Like, a lot of guys are afraid to make plays and afraid to fail or afraid to make a mistake. That's not him. No. He's just going to keep going. And he's really rubbed off on our guys like that. I mean, we make some mistakes, but we're coming right back and we're doing it again. And I think that's what's made our group better, that kind of mentality. And, of course, obviously, this guy, your oldest guy, can come every day and do it right. Man, how does it not everybody else follow suit? So I'm not sure if that's what you asked me, but that's my answer.
No, That's exactly what I asked you about, because he's a unique player in that, and he's also grittier. I don't think he gets enough credit for the grittiness that he plays with. He does. I mean, he'll get under somebody's skin, which is something like when you talk about being hard to play against. I don't think Justin's an easy guy to play against.
No way. No, hey, if I could add some too. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Roddy.
No, you go ahead. Go
okay.
ahead.
No, I just want to add to what Roddy was saying about Willie, and I think, I don't know, we played together 6.5 years. I played with Willie as long as I played with Roddy. So, but when he says the consistency, if you look at a guy, I've never seen a guy that I played with in all the years. I mean, Roddy, you were right with him, I would say, and maybe a couple others, but there wasn't a lot of ups and downs, right? Like a lot of guys, you get the big highs when they play well, and then maybe when they don't play well, there's some really bad lows. Where with a guy like Justin Williams, it's just a small up and down as he goes. He's never too high, he's never too low. And you can't tell if he played a great game or of a poor game. He was always really consistent with himself, with his attitude. And I think because of the way he is every day and the confidence he has in himself, just to be who he is, it allows him to be that same guy on the ice, where if he makes a mistake, as Roddy mentioned, it doesn't really faze him, right? He just comes back the next shift and makes the same play, and then he pulls it off. And in a game 7, why is he called Mr. Game 7? Is because he has that ability to slow down his heart rate no matter what the situation is. He's always calm and collected. And if you were and Roddy, maybe you can answer this too. In the confidence that you have when you're in a locker room, when you know every guy that you see as you're tying your skates to get ready, that you meet your eyes on every guy, they're like, that guy's ready, he's ready. And on that 06 team, every guy was ready, but particularly you always had to look. If you ever looked at Justin Williams before a game, you knew that guy was ready.
Yeah, especially when the crossword was done.
Sorry, say that again.
Oh, I know he's famous for doing crossword puzzles now, apparently. So, but no, he's talking about, he's always ready to play.
Well, that's the other part of it. Game 1 of a preseason season or game 7 of it, he's doing his crossword puzzle. He's just relaxed. And everyone sees that. Okay, there's nothing different. You just got to go out and control your control. Mm-hmm. Go out, play your best, regardless. I mean, it doesn't matter what the stakes of the game. That's the stuff that can get you sidetracked. And you just go and do what you're supposed to. And that's, I think, what he kind of, when you watch him prepare or do anything, that's what you see. You see a guy just do a job and trust that. And I think that's why he's had such a great career.
I only want to keep you guys another couple of minutes. So one more thing about Williams. What's life after Justin for the team? Because you missed something when he wasn't there to start the season, and you got it back, and it looked like the team was starting to round into the form that you expected them to play. So, who fills that void when Williams ultimately stops playing? I mean, I assume he's going to stop playing.
Okay, so again, I'm interpreting your question because I get every other word. So what I think you said is something about what happens when Willie finally says he's had enough.
Yes.
And who fills that void?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I think we had that taste already. When he didn't, he took a hiatus there, and then we got to see what it would be like without him. And we missed him, but I thought we did okay. And I think it's because we had a guy like Jordan Stahl, who very similar to Willie in this approach. Comes you look over at him, you see he's ready to go, and then you see it at him all the time. Is there anybody that plays more consistently than Jordan Stahl? Like, it's the exact same game every night, all night long, every shift. There you go. That's how it gets done. And again, it's rubbing off. I hope it's rubbing off, and I think it is on all these young guys we have. And they see that, and we talk about it, and we give credit where credit's due on that kind of stuff. I mean, that's so important, and that's just playing it right. And for me, you got him, Jacob Slavin, that doesn't get talked about probably enough, but he's the real deal, Hetty. And
I love that kid.
I love this guy. It's just you get what you get. You know what you're getting, and pretty consistent, right, Adam? I mean, game in, game out, he's one of the best ones on the ice.
I mean, you could start each game by making Jacob Slavin one of the 3 stars, and you would be right basically every game. Every game. He's that good.
And to add what Roddy is saying there, Adam, about Justin Williams and even Slavin, when someday they depart, the ripple effect that these guys leave after they're gone, it leaves a mark on a lot of young guys that are coming up through the organization that get to see how these guys prepare night in, night out, and how consistent they are. No matter what the situation is, they step out there and they do their best. And I think when you have enough of those players in a locker room, and then you continue to evolve as a team, and your younger players continue to see that leaves a mark for much longer than those players are gone. I mean, it's or then they're there. I mean, that lasts for years after a player leaves.
All right, we'll close on this, and this is kind of a big picture about where we are and the role that hockey and sports in general will play in coming back from this. It's a serious question. I hate to end on a serious question. I have to ask kind of a goofy question. But every league's trying to make plans to come back. Can you come back without fans? Or as a player, are you kind of just – do you almost feel like you're inconsequential because you're being put in a situation that we're not putting the rest of society in? I mean, what's the role of the NHL and sport as we try to come back to some semblance of normalcy here?
Hey, you go ahead, because I missed most of that. So.
Well, I think we don't know what's going to happen, Adam. I mean, we're all in uncharted territory on what's going to happen. I think we all know what sports means to us. Right now we'd be right in the middle of the Stanley Cup playoffs, this round 1, if you will, maybe round 2. And we'd be seeing some spectacular performances. Mm-hmm. And I think no matter what sport you're talking about, sport provides people an outlet to release, their energy, their enthusiasm, to be able to, capture Justin Williams, to go to the arena, to watch him live, to watch other players, Sebastian Aho and Slavin, all the other great players that you guys have, for the Caniacs to get in there in Raleigh to watch them in real time. And I think to see playoff hockey is what we all miss. So no matter what sport we're talking about, sports is going to come back. It'll be back at some point. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but we just got to pray that one day we'll be seeing a full building with some great playoff hockey.
Rod, could you play without fans? How does that work, especially PNC, which has been such a great place? What would it be like without fans in the building?
I think you're talking about if no fans could come.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yep.
I don't know. So that's it for me, and I've thought about it. I mean, obviously, if we're getting to that point, things have gotten better, so that's positive that they're even about that and allowing this stuff to happen. But what makes hockey so great for me is that passion and emotion that the crowd brings to the game. And so I wonder what kind of game you'd actually end up having after maybe a losing. Then what would the game really be like? With no fans in the stands, that's tough for the players I think, to really do what they do, feed off that emotion. The game is such an emotional game. And it's brought to through the fans, and we have some of the best ones. I mean, when that the crowd gets going, it's you really feel it. So I hope we can have people in the stands for sure. Coming back is a priority, so however we got to do it, we got to do it. But hockey is the one sport that I worry about, because it is such a, number one, a great live sport.
Mm-hmm.
Not football. Football is great on the couch for me. I don't even, but you got to be in the game, and part of it is the fans are part of that experience. So, obviously we'll see.
Yeah, look, it's I watched Game 7 of the 2006 Stanley Cup Finals on Barstool at the King Street Bar and Grill in Charleston when I was celebrating my first anniversary. I'll never live that down. I can't believe I missed Game 7, but you guys were great to be around. You're still great to be around. Rod, I see you a lot. I haven't seen you obviously now in about a little over a month. You've been, nobody has ever been better to me than you have. And Bret, people don't know this. You gave my son a hockey stick when he was about 11. He still has it. You once asked me, why doesn't he use it? I'm like, because it's like a real stick. Where's he going to use it? Outside? I don't want to mess up that stick. But you guys are two of the best people I know. So that's why when I did this, I wanted to do it with you two guys. And I thank you very much for doing it. And maybe we'll do it again. And maybe I'll just see you at the rink soon because it's time. We should be watching playoff hockey. But you guys are the best, and I appreciate everything that you guys stand for and you are.
Thanks for having me, Adam, and great seeing you, Roddy. Hope you're well. Tell the family I say hello.
Yeah, you guys need to talk more.
Great seeing you. Thank
you. Seeing you.
You're the best, man.
See you, Adam.
Right. See you.
See you, buddy.
Take care. Thank you again.
Thanks, Roddy.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap.